What's up, guys? This is Charlie McCabe, and you're listening to the Texas Toast Podcast.
So let's go.
Cheers, everyone, and welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. I'm Miss Helen, and I am so pleased to welcome our guest for this episode, Charlie McCabe. Hello, Charlie. It's great to see you and looking forward to digging in and getting to know you a little bit better.
Hey, Helen. Thanks for having me, and I'm super excited to be on here with you.
All right. So you are graduated Texas A&M, class of 2022. You were a marketing major, but it seems like to me you got your degree in marketing, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you also got your degree in music.
Well, the music one was a little on the side, but yes, the marketing was from A&M, and kind of started pursuing music on the side in the back half of college. So
Right. So you self-produced your first music and your first EP that came out. We're going to talk about that. But I'm fascinated by the fact that, of course, a lot of this came about when it was during COVID and everything was shut down. And you started writing and started playing the guitar. Prior to that, did you have any music background? And if so, what was it?
I had zero music background before that.
Oh my gosh.
In middle school, I was in a musical. And that was just because all my other friends were doing it. And that was kind of when I figured out that I could sing a little bit. But really after that, that was in seventh grade, and I just didn't really think anything of it, and couldn't play any instruments. And yeah, no other musical background besides that. So
Okay, so for everyone listening to this podcast, I was amazed and I couldn't wait to talk to you because it was like basically Charlie in 2020 picked up the guitar for the first time and you learned how to play. How did that go for you? What was your process and methods of learning the guitar?
yeah, so I guess, yeah, summer of 2020, we got sent home from school because of COVID. Um, and I was at home, and was working a landscape job, and kind of just got really bored at home, and was like, man, I gotta spice things up somehow here. And so I found my dad's guitar that had just been sitting in the corner of our living room for God knows how long, like my entire life at least. And was like, well, maybe I'll just try to learn how to strum some chords. And the problem was I'm a righty, and it was a left-handed guitar. But my thinking was, you know what, I don't know how to play righty, so might as well learn lefty because I don't know how to play either way. So, but yeah, just started watching a bunch of YouTube on how to play different chords, and eventually I got bored of just learning the fundamentals of everything, and I wanted to learn how to play songs. And so started teaching myself a couple songs, and kind of went from there. So
I am absolutely blown away. So then on top of that, you decide you're going to start writing songs and your writing skills are absolutely fabulous. Where do you get your writing skills from? Had you written stuff before?
well, I had never written songs before, kind of that summer. Well, freshman year of college, I had kind of written a couple that me and a friend dabbled around with recording some music in his dorm room. But before that, it was just I've kind of always loved writing. I've loved English class. I remember in middle school, we would write poems and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and I would never say anything about it because I was like, this is kind of nerdy. But yeah, I've always silently enjoyed it, and so it was nice to kind of pick up guitar and bring it all together, and remember like, oh yeah, I do actually like this stuff. So
Okay, it's so funny that you brought that up because I thought I was going to like get on the weird nerdy kind of side because listening to your music and then researching the lyrics, it's almost like someone could stand and do a reading, especially with Devil Leaves at Sunrise. It's almost like a poetry or prose read. I mean,
yes,
on top
ma'am.
of the music being so good, the first thing I thought I was looking and I was like, this is so outstanding. Someone could actually like it's really theatrical, like could like recite it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. That was one of the first real songs that I wrote that I was kind of proud of, and one that I wasn't real embarrassed to play in front of other people. And it's a bit of a dark song, and it kind of came from a dark time. Like I wrote it during COVID and
Hmm.
was stuck inside, and I was like listening to a lot of Chris Stapleton and Coulter Wall, and kind of drew some inspiration from those guys. But yeah, that was one of the first ones that I wrote, and was real proud of it putting it out. So
And of course, that was a title cut to your EP that you released in 2021. It came out even before you got your degree. You released an EP and you self produced it. So tell me the process on that. And especially on Devil Leaves at Sunrise, there's like major production in there. There was a lot of thought put into it.
absolutely, yeah. So me and a buddy in college, we got back from Christmas break, um, January of 2021, and I said, "Hey, man, I wrote a couple songs during COVID while we were in isolation, and like, would you be down to maybe possibly mess around and record some of them?" He had a beta version of Logic on his computer, and I was like, "Hey, man, we should try to mess around and record some of these." And he was totally down for it. And this guy, his name is Jackson. He's one of my best friends. He's a god at guitar. He's so good. And if anyone was going to help me out with it, it was going to be him. And so I reached out, and he was totally down for it. And we spent hours upon hours watching YouTube on how to record music, on how to produce music. And eventually we pulled 5 songs together and released it as an EP. So
Yeah, 5 great songs. I enjoyed Dallas Girl. That's a good one. And
thank you.
Keep on Running. I mean, like they're all really good and they all have like their own just kind of like personality, I guess you could say, song. Oh, anyway. But yeah, yeah, good stuff. So you've moved forward, you graduated and you're also working full time now and doing your music. So how is that? How are you juggling both of those?
Yeah, so I finally graduated, moved down to Houston, Texas,
Mhm.
and started my full time job. Love the company, love my team, and yeah, just continued to pursue music on the side, and have been gigging every weekend since then. Um, and yeah, it was a challenge at first to juggle both of them, but once I kind of got in the groove of everything and getting used to being busy 7 days of the week, it kind of got a little bit easier, and it's still a grind for sure, but I love doing it, so it doesn't really feel like work, which is good.
Okay. Yes. And so something I want to talk about that I've kind of, let me go back a little bit, but talking about your, playing some shows now. So you pick up the guitar, you start writing songs, you self-produce this EP, and then what was it like for you the first time that you took your music out in public?
After releasing the EP,
Yeah, I guess my question is, it's like, one thing is the recording and the writing and you're just fresh. And
right?
then to go in front of people and sing your songs.
Oh gosh,
Was you
a
scared?
nervous. I was a nervous wreck. Yeah, I'm kind of a nervous guy in general, and so getting in front of a bunch of people and showing them something that you created, not knowing like if they're gonna like it or not, that was tough because you get into some rooms that um, are not the best listening rooms, I guess, and
Mhm.
you don't always get a reaction from the crowd, and so you finish a song and you're like, man, did they like that, or how did that go? But the first gig that I ever played in College Station was at a little bar off of Texas Avenue called Yesterdays, and I played a 3-hour set with my buddy Jackson, and it was pretty much every song that I knew. Like I was playing some songs that weren't even country, like "Island in the Sun" by Weezer, and but basically just needed to start gigging and kind of get my name out there, and played all those originals, and I really got a good response from them. So I was really happy about that, and we kind of went forward from there and kept picking up gigs, and eventually got to this point. So
Wow, that's exciting. And so you've moved along now. We're going to get to something that's dropping pretty soon for you that I'm excited about. But now you're working with producer, you're working with Stormy Cooper now.
yes, yes, man.
So that's a big step.
Absolutely. Yeah. for these new songs that I wrote, since moving down to Houston, I knew that I had to get back on the writing horse and start writing some new stuff and getting ready to put out some new stuff. But I I had written a couple songs that I was really proud of, and I didn't want to produce them the wrong way. And so I did a lot of research on who to go to get that done. And in the end, Stormy Cooper was the guy in the Houston area, and man, they are absolute wizards down there. Like they know exactly what they're doing. They have the connections to musicians and stuff, and we ended up getting some really good songs recorded. So I'm really excited for these next releases.
Well, and then to complement your songwriting skills, you were selected for Larry Joe Taylor's songwriting competition.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
Uh, yeah, so got selected for the LJT songwriting competition. Basically, it had been one of my New Year's resolutions this year because a friend of mine from College Station, his name's Jacob Stelly. I'm sure you've heard of him at this point. He had done it, I saw, and I was like, man, that looks so cool. And I had missed the deadline, and I was like, okay, next year I'm going to do that. And sure enough, I had almost forgotten again. It was the night of, I was like, oh, I have to submit 2 songs. And so I took a video of myself playing 2 songs. One of them was called Amigo, and the other one is called Hard to Quit. And those were 2 of the songs that I recorded with Stormy Cooper. And submitted the video and was like, well, I guess I'll just wait and see. And sure enough, I got an email back saying that I got selected, and that was such a fun process. Got to drive up to Stephenville to Melody Mountain Ranch and shook hands with Larry Joe Taylor, and it was kind of a cool step in this process. So I was really excited to do that, and it was a great opportunity. Made a lot of good connections. So.
Well, while we're talking about Amigo, that's how you and I met when you emailed me and sent me just like a little teaser for it. And I love it. It's absolutely great. So tell me about Amigo and what your plans are for it.
Yes. So Amigo, I am really excited about this one. It's my first release since Devil Leaves at Sunrise back in 2021. So kind of a long time coming as far as releases go. But yeah, it's a song that kind of takes all my inspiration for what kind of songs that I like to write, as far as storytelling, as far as like a modern traditional honky tonk song. Yeah, I am super excited to put it out and have everyone jam it with me. It's a good song for summertime, and kind of an upbeat song, but also can be a chill song. And so, yeah, we're really excited for this one.
So how long ago did you write that one? And what was
So,
the thinking
so I wrote
behind
Amigo.
it?
Yeah. So I wrote it last summer, after moving down to Houston. I had kind of gotten into a writing groove. I wrote a couple songs that I was like, okay, yeah, these are decent. And then one day I was just kind of thinking about all my friends and family that have really supported me along this kind of side road show that I've been taking on. And I was like, man, I really just want to write a song for my friends, and just, there you go. Friend in Spanish, that's amigo. And this song is about having a really good wingman on a night out. And really, I just dedicated it to all my friends and my family that have had my back from the start. So that's who the song goes out to. And yeah, it's about having a good wingman and the importance of that. So.
Yes, I think everyone's going to love that song. It's definitely going to be added to everyone's playlist. And so is it going to go out to radio?
Yes. So this will be released to radio, all platforms, and we'll see what happens with it. So,
oh yeah, we're going to see what happens, because it's like right around the corner that it's dropping to radio. I just wanted to confirm that it was going to radio. And in addition to that, so now you've gotten busy because you're playing a lot of shows and you have a band together.
Yes, ma'am. So, kind of the next step in the process was putting a band together, because I'm excited to start getting some bigger gigs and putting the entire sound together. So we finally had a band together, and I'm playing my first full band show on April 28th, the night that Amigo drops. Yeah, I'm headlining the Tap in College Station. So I'm super excited about that. The Tap is kind of the epitome of like College Station artists, and it's always great to get in there, and headlining it is going to be fantastic. I'm super excited for it, so I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
Yeah. I bet everybody's excited for you as well. I know I am. And what a great place for you to debut everything and be able to go back to. So I was looking at your schedule and looking at some different things. So you are kind of like in the North Houston area, Conroe,
Yes,
maybe Woodlands area.
yes,
Yeah. Great hub of music. Lots of live venues there.
absolutely, yeah. Especially, I've been going up to the Montgomery County scene a lot too,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I work my full time job in the Woodlands, and so already being up there, I'm kind of immersed in that scene. And I work a real estate job, so I kind of know what's all around the area, what types of places there are. And since moving down to Houston last summer, um, no one really knew who I was down here, and so I had to try to make a name for myself from that standpoint. And the way to do that, after listening to a lot of podcasts and watching a lot of videos on how to get out there, was going to these open mic nights. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would go to these open mic nights. I would play 5 songs, and if the owner, the manager liked me, then we'd shake hands, and some of them turned into gigs, some of them didn't. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of gigs down here, so it's been awesome so far.
Wow. What an amazing story. I mean, I'm telling you, that's why when I was looking at the notes and, prepping for the podcast, I was like, seriously, there's got to be like, he did something when he was 3 years old, but like you literally just picked this up and here we are. So, who were some of your musical influences? Like, who did you listen to growing up? What kind of music?
Well, it's funny when people ask me that. I grew up in the Midwest, so I was born in Chicago, and I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin until I was 13, 14 years old, and then we moved down to Texas for my dad's job. So I went to high school in Austin, but from a music standpoint, when I was up there, I really listened to a lot of like classic rock, alternative, like 90s, 2000s alternative,
Right,
so like
right.
Green Day, The Killers, stuff like that. And it wasn't really until Texas that I kind of fell in love with country music. And that being said, it's not going to be your typical answer where people are like, oh, my influences are, Keith Whitley and Alan Jackson, which those are great influences, but mine are more the modern guys. Like I draw a lot of inspiration from like guys like Parker McCollum and
Yes.
Cody Johnson and Chris
Mm-hmm.
Stapleton. Like
Mm-hmm.
those guys are great, and I'm not embarrassed to say that they're my biggest influences because they're tearing up the scene right now, and man, they're guys that anyone like me should want to be like. So
Yes, they have influenced many and countless. So that's a great story right there. And so with the dropping and the release of Amigo, and you're going in the studio with Stormy Cooper. So are you working on a new album to be coming out sometime this year?
so I don't have an album in the works. My plan right now is I have a bunch of singles lined up,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and kind of the general consensus right now in the industry is that singles are being consumed a lot better than albums, unless you're, Morgan Wallen putting out 36 songs. But for a guy like me, who not a lot of people know, I don't really want to hide a good song that I really like in an album that people might not hear.
Right.
So the plan is to kind of record a bunch of songs and roll them out as singles and kind of see what happens from there. But yes, absolutely, album will be coming in the future, depending on how those trend. So
Mhm. Oh, I think we're gonna do just fine, especially with Amigo. I'm excited to see that get picked up by radio and be able to watch it chart and move up. And I like the idea that you're just gonna go take it, little bits and pieces, one thing at a time, one song at a time, one single. I think that is very logical and that is awesome.
thank
So
you.
yeah. And so I mean, everything's going good. I mean, it's like anything else we want. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Well, if you have any time off, what do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies, some of your backgrounds of your interests?
Yeah. So yeah, I go to work, and when I get off of work, I love fitness. I love working out.
Oh, cool.
I've always been a fitness guy, whether that was running, doing like hit stuff, CrossFit, or just lifting weights. And then, yeah, I like hanging out with my buddies, hanging out with my friends, and finding cool new places to hang out. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. And
Yeah.
when I'm not working, I'm playing gigs and on the road. So, but I did want to mention a big influence of mine in college and kind of getting into this, getting more comfortable in the scene was I joined a cover band in college. Um, and it was a 90s, 2000s alt rock cover band that I was asked to be the lead singer of. And we were called My Chemical Bromance. And that was probably some of the most fun days slash months of my life. Like, great group of guys. We played some really fun shows to all of our friends. At the Tap, we got to play Harry's. So that was tons of fun. And just wanted to mention those guys because I miss that band, and I know they're all doing great things right now. But yeah, so wanted to shout those guys out. My Chemical
Oh, yeah.
Bromance, MCB.
That is too cool. Yeah, I meant to mention that. I had it in my notes. And so was that during the time that you were forming your music business up and coming?
Yeah, so at that point, the band that MCB was a band that was kind of passed down to guys in this organization that we were in.
Okay.
And so kind of as guys graduated, new guys got into the organization and were asked to be in the band. And so I just so happened to come into the organization when we were losing one of the other guys. And if you don't know who it is, his name's Cole Whittlesey. He's kind of an artist on the scene right now. And he is a phenomenal voice. And so they called me up and they were like, hey, man, Cole's graduating. We need a new lead singer. Would you want to fill his place? And I was like, dude, of course. So,
Awesome.
um,
Awesome.
but yeah, it was a really fun time. And, you know, I got to draw back those early influences where we played, you know, When You Were Young by the Killers and some Green Day stuff, but also threw in ones like Tennessee Whiskey and stuff. So super fun. And yes, that was also during the time where I started gigging on my own, and we were in the process of recording Devil Leaves at Sunrise. So
Wow. I'm just shaking my head. You're just amazing. Charlie McCabe, you're just amazing. And
thank you very
so,
much.
yeah, and so I do want to mention Charlie McCabe, McCabe, is where you can find all of your stuff. And your website is
Website is
music.
charliemccabemusic.com.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Charlie. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so glad that we got connected and had you on. And I just look for great things, and Amigos coming out very, very soon. So everybody get on it, get it downloaded, and call your favorite local Texas radio station and request it.
Thank you very much, Helen. I really appreciate you having me on. And yeah, Amigo will come out April 28th. So thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks, Charlie.